Answer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is what ecstasy looks like.
World Series champs! You want that?
It is what happens when a century of frustration finally, mercifully, comes to an end.
Dude, my grandpa used to wait on the driveway with his transistor radio in 1978 saying, "This is the year, son, we're gonna win it." And he's long gone, and this is insane. It's insane, mother. It's insane.
Did you ever think you'd see it?
Never, never.
For 2 nights in November, 2 towns with decades-long droughts fought for this party. And at times it seemed like no one wanted to win. Cleveland has their own, slightly less famous 68-year-old World Series curse to contend with.
Go try.
And on the night of Game 6, they could have been the ones throwing the party. They could have clinched.
I've stuck with them through thick and thin, and here we are, Game 6 of the World Series, and if they're going to finish it, I'm going to be here.
Tom Kingswood couldn't afford a ticket, but after listening to the Indians on the radio his whole life, hey, why change? But on this night, he wasn't going to like much of what he heard.
Cubs with a 5-run lead. Indians trying to get back into it. Bottom of the 6th.
This game was over really before it started. Chicago grabbed a big lead and never relented. And that looming specter of 1948, the Tribe's last victory, well, it began to weigh heavy. Could they really blow what had been a 3-1 lead?
It gets in your head, but as you can see what happened with the Cavaliers, anything can happen. Anything's possible. We've become known as Believe Land, making things happen where they don't happen anywhere else.
Okay, whose curse is worse, Chicago or Cleveland?
Definitely Chicago's, and we hope to leave that curse intact, but it looks like we're going to be going to Game 7.
Indeed, they were. The day of Game 7 found Sheffield Avenue in Chicago, home to one of the walls of Wrigley Field, turn into a place of reverence. In chalk, people wrote down names of loved ones, many long dead, who couldn't be here on the night the Cubs might win for the first time since 1908. It was as if they were lighting candles in a church.
You know what, I'm not a religious person, but this is kind of a religion at this point.
The section around the ballpark, Wrigleyville, was filling up. People were paying a $100 cover charge just to get into their favorite bar, wondering if this would be Chicago's night to shine.
Special, very special.
This is about demons.
84 was tough. When Ryan Sandberg came here, I thought that was the year again. This is going to be great. Followed Mark Grace in 89, and then obviously the heartbreak of the remaining years.
But the very first batter of the game appeared to provide a sign that heartbreak might be ending. A leadoff home run made it seem real, and the lead grew larger. It was almost too good to be true. More people were flooding into Wrigleyville, watching through windows from the rainy street. But then late in the game, a reminder. This is Chicago, and these are the cursed Cubs after all. The Indians came all the way back to tie it. There was no joy in Wrigleyville. It was like the baseball gods didn't want either team's curse to be lifted. That's how Cubs lifer Artie Heil felt.
It was like they kept messing with us, and it kept going back and forth and back and forth.
A rain delay, then extra innings.
And then, we got 2 runs, and then they scored a run in the bottom of the 10th. And then we got 2 outs, and then he walks a guy. And then it just wasn't ever going to end.
Until it did.
And it did, and we won! Yeah!
The Cubs have done it. The longest drought in the history of American sports is over, and the celebration begins.
Which brings us back to that ecstasy.
And then once the last out came through, it was the best feeling I've ever had in my life. Besides my children being born, that was the third best feeling I've ever had. First my 2 kids, then the Cubs winning the World Series. Let's go!
Did you ever think you were going to see this day, Artie?
I didn't think so. I really didn't. I was there for Bartman. I was there when they lost to San Diego. But today it happened. I can't believe it's a reality.
On 2 nights in November, a 68-year-old curse held true, while another of more than a century finally went by the wayside, as fans on Chicago's North Side, always waiting till next year, finally saw next year arrive.
2016, it actually happened.
In Chicago, George Sells for MannVR News.